is Citizen Weekend with Olive Barrows.
A very good evening to you. You're welcome and right in time for this news broadcast. And we will be getting into matters. Haiti, the question is, mission accomplished? And why we're asking that question is because in 10 days' time, on October the 2nd, the UN mandate of the Multinational Security Support Mission to Haiti, led by Kenya, will be expiring. The U.S. is proposing what they call a gang suppression force, which will be led or whose mission will be strategically oversighted by what they describe as partner states, including Kenya, which has sent boots to the ground. We get into that conversation with Ricardo Germain, who is a Haitian security expert, and we ask what are the takeaways. But before we get into that discussion, the news highlights. 500,000 shilling limit. Social Health Authority allows medical treatment overseas for 36 services that are unavailable in the country.
Tunataka kujitegemea. Tupewe shule yetu, tukae kama sisi.
Taking a different path. Junior secondary school teachers demand autonomy and structural reforms.
Citizen mbesenga badamu mkuenge wazima vijana yangu mfanye kazi na bidii.
Together again. Minors who went missing 3 weeks ago reunited with family. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Yulan Zale. And we begin on a winning note. Olympic champions Beatrice Chebet and Emmanuel Wanyonyi increased Kenya's medal tally at the Tokyo Athletics World Championships to 10 by emphatically winning gold in the women's 5,000 meters and 800 men's finals. Kenya lies second on the medal standings behind the USA, with a chance to increase her tally during Sunday's women's 800 meters and men's 5,000 finals. The Ministry of Health has unveiled new criteria for Kenyans seeking specialized treatment abroad under the Social Health Insurance Scheme. Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has gazetted a list of 36 healthcare services that are not available in Kenya, saying only those will be reimbursed under the medical scheme. As you'll hear now from Emily Chebet, even though this comes as a relief to Kenyans who've been stranded awaiting overseas treatment, the limit is far from sufficient to cater for the medical treatment, stay, as well as travel.
For several weeks, patients seeking specialized treatment abroad have been stranded after the Ministry of Health put the process on hold, awaiting a review by the Benefits Package and Tariffs Advisory Panel. Today's publication of 36 healthcare services not available in the country is a welcome relief for many. But for some, like Robin Onserio and his wife, the journey to treatment is still far from over. The family from Gasiaga village in Kitutu Masaba constituency in Nyamira County has spent months moving from hospital to hospital with their infant child born with a congenital heart condition that requires urgent intervention abroad.
Uko Eldoret alienda akafanyiwa heko. Wakampima heko, wakapata majibu, wakaniambia pulmonary artery imejifunga na sehemu nyingine ako na shimo, nataka atibiwe.
The gazettement of the new framework listing 36 health conditions eligible for reimbursement under the Social Health Authority is a significant step towards ensuring that Kenyans can access life-saving treatments that is not available locally. But for families like Onserio's, the journey remains uncertain. The current cap of 500,000 Kenya shillings under SHA leaves a significant financial gap, one that many cannot fill on their own.
Daktari mwingine aliniambia nimpeleke huyo mtoto Tenweki. Nikapeleka huyo mtoto Tenweki. Kwa Tenweki wakaenda wakampima heko. Na wao wakapata majibu kama ile ya Eldoret. Na wao wakaniambia hawawezi kwa maana huyo mtoto ni mdogo, ako less than 5 years. Wakanituma nimpeleke India.
Wakati tuliambiwa mtoto anataka kwenda India, tukawauliza huyu mtoto anatakiwa pesa ngapi. Tukaambiwa huyu mtoto anatakikana akuwe na 2,000,000. Sasa tuliambiwa itatusaidia na pesa 1,400. Tukarudi nyumbani, tukakaa tukafanya mjango, tulipatiwa pesa 1,100.
Another family from Bonchari in Kisii County has been carrying the heavy burden of caring for 2 children diagnosed with leukemia. One of their daughters, who has since dropped out of school due to illness, urgently requires a bone marrow transplant, a procedure only available in India.
Wakanipa quotation which was up to $38,700 which is about 4.8 million Kenyan shilling. Nikasema hii sitaweza.
The Gazette notice clearly states that only overseas health facilities accredited by their home countries and recognized by Kenyan regulators will qualify for referrals under the Social Health Authority. These hospitals must also establish partnerships with local health facilities to ensure proper follow-up care once patients return home. Some of the specialized services listed include liver transplant, bone marrow transplant, pediatric kidney transplants, and distal femoral replacement, among others. Emily Chebet, Citizen TV.
Teachers' unions and junior secondary school tutors are intensifying calls for the government to grant JSS full autonomy from both primary and senior secondary institutions. The Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, along with JSS tutors across the country, are demanding the establishment of a distinct administrative framework for JSS, independent of the primary schools where the new learning level is currently domiciled. They argue that the government's decision to domicile JSS within primary schools has created widespread confusion, particularly in areas such as school administration, sports and co-curricular activities. With that report is none other than Citizen TV's Ben Kirui.
For weeks, junior secondary tutors backed by the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, have demanded a distinct administrative and governance structure separate from the primary schools where they are currently domiciled. They insist that junior secondary cannot function effectively while tethered to primary institutions.
Magos, ow! Ow! Magos, ow!
The teachers have criticized the government's handling of junior secondary implementation and called for urgent structural reforms. They argue that the current model has led to operational confusion, particularly in school administration, sports and co-curricular activities.
Sisi walimu wa JSS tunataka kujitegemea. Tupewe shule yetu, tukae kama sisi, mahoi watengenezewe shule yao waendelee huko. Sisi tunataka kujitegemea. Magos, au! Magos, power!
There is a lot of confusion, starting from the entire administration of these schools to how sports and co-curriculum activities are managed. This is affecting not only the teachers, but also the learners.
The tutors also decry a workload imbalance, saying JS teachers handle up to 45 lessons per week, while their primary school counterparts teach only 24. Yet both are subjected to the same performance and assessment targets.
They should be left on their own. They should have their own principal and school principal.
And as a union, we are not happy of what our colleagues who have been placed in primary are being treated by those teachers in primary school.
Similar sentiments were amplified in counties of Embu, Kericho, Narok and Uasin Gishu, where JS tutors gathered in solidarity to push for their own boards, administrative systems and governance frameworks.
Walimu wanapoenda kuitisha vifaa vya kufanya practicals kule katika shule zile hazina maabara. Kwa hivyo ni shida moja. Walimu pia wanaitisha vifaa vingine kama vile vya mpira, mambo mengine vya kucheza, unasikia hakuna muda.
Who are the managers of this JSS? Number 3, as we ask for that, there are many issues that have been bedeviling JSS. Yes. Part of those issues is the issue of being domiciled in the primary schools.
If this autonomy is not achieved, we are threatened not to know the career progression of a JSS teacher, because when this policy is adopted, then the teachers of JSS are dictated to follow up the career progression of a primary school teacher.
The disquiet appears to be evenly spread across the country, with the teachers issuing warnings of a potential nationwide strike if their demands are not addressed with urgency. Ben Kirui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
President William Ruto has faulted Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka for misleading residents of Ukambani in opposing the government by spreading divisive politics and propaganda. Speaking during the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of the Eastern Kenya Integrated College in Machakos County, the head of state told Ukambani residents that they can only enjoy development by being on, quote, the right side of history. With more is Seth Olale.
My bishop. Yes. President William Ruto had a message for Ukambani residents. He asked them to support his administration on lose out on development.
Huko Homa Bay, Migori, Siaya, Kisumu, tunajenga soko nyingi kwa sababu wamekubali mapema kuliko zile zinajenga hapa. Nyinyi bado mnapinga maana. Hiyo inaitwa nini?
Speaking while laying the foundation block of the Eastern Kenya Integrated College in Mitaboni, Kathiani, Machakos County, the head of state castigated Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka for misleading Ukambani residents through popularizing divisive politics.
Viongozi wa maoni ndogo ndogo. You know? So, and I have said this, we have for far too long we have made peace with mediocrity and the average.
President Ruto announcing that his administration has set aside 43 billion shillings for various development projects in the region, regardless of its political affiliation.
Mimi siwezi kukubali sehemu yoyote ya Kenya ibaki nyuma. It is not right, it is not fair, it is not godly.
The head of state stating that the expansion of the Eastern Kenya Integrated College is aimed at enrolling more students from the region. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
Meanwhile, the opposition is tonight accusing President William Ruto of using public funds to bribe the church in what they say is an attempt to regain lost popularity at the expense of delivering for Kenyans. Led by Wiper Patriotic Front's Kalonzo Musyoka, the opposition leaders who graced a pastor's ordination service in Machakos have cautioned the clergy against being used to lead Kenyans astray, saying they were shaping a formidable team to unseat President Ruto come 2027. And as you'll hear now from Kamamwangi, they also warned the head of state against concerted efforts to dismantle the opposition.
Important to God.
The church is once again finding itself in the middle of a political storm, days after the head of state defended his 3-year track record at the 50th Evangelical Alliance Conference. Opposition leaders were in Mutitoni, Machakos County for the ordination of clergy under the Calvary Christian Tabernacle Church, cautioned the men of cloth against receiving gifts and contributions from the head of state, allegedly in exchange for support of his administration's policies.
Those bishops are given prados. Roman Catholic walikataa zawadi hiyo. Hii ni pesa ya umma. Ona watu walipokea wameanza kuuliza hizi pesa nyingi umezitoa wapi?
Utakuwaje unaunganisha na huku wengine wanasema endeni mniachie viongozi wa sehemu hiyo. Hawa ni wakuongwa. Sasa watu watakuwa wakununuliwa na zile hela zao.
The leaders claim that the president intends to use the church to regain lost popularity. They also say the president is behind a plot to dismantle the opposition that includes use of members of the clergy as emissaries to seek Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka's cooperation.
Na those bishops wanapatiwa brand ambao sasa tufuate seta kwenda ongea na Kalonzo ajiunge na mimi. Yaani wao tumecheza pamoja na viongozi wa Wakamba na Wakikuyu na Wameru na nimeamua for the time being I am the family spokesman.
The opposition chiefs expressed optimism of beating the president at the ballot in 2027, saying there are many unfulfilled promises in different regions.
Na lazima tumalize hii siasa ya handouts na bribes. What we want is to do what is right for this country and to transform our country. Na ndio sababu tunasema for us to achieve that, Ruto must.
Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV.
Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has called on Kenyans to continue registering for the Social Health Authority, SHA, noting that the government is targeting 55 million citizens under the new Universal Health Scheme. Elsewhere, Kenya Kwanza leaders have continued to defend President Ruto's track record, even as they push for unity ahead of the 2027 elections. With more is Marianne Nyambura.
An empowerment program in Kajiado County led by the second-in-command provided a platform for political and government-related discussions. DP Kithure Kindiki revealed that the state has already identified 2.2 million vulnerable Kenyans who are unable to pay SHA contributions. Their contributions will be fully covered by the government, including support for about 550,000 households.
Serikali imetoa shilingi bilioni 22 katika mwaka huu kuhakikisha kwamba matibabu katika hospitali zote za umma itakuwa bure kwa outpatient, wale ambao hawalazwi.
In Kapenguria, West Pokot, Kenya Kwanza politicians rallied support for President William Ruto's administration.
Kila mahali watu wanaimba tu Ruto 10 bila break, Ruto 5 tena. Hapa mnasema nini?
Uzuri sisi naye tumewapima na ile watu wawezana na William Ruto. Nyinyi mkiona wanawezana kweli? Ile team kuna mtu anawezana William Ruto pale.
The leaders defended President Ruto's development track record. They say the president has delivered on his election promises and deserves a second term in office.
Si president anakutana na Wakenya kushawishiana na wao. Wale wanatembea na ukabila tunawaambia shetani afanye namna gani. Wale wanatuambia mambo ya State House na kutulecture. Sisi tunawaambia nyumba ya State House ni ya Wakenya.
Sisi lazima tubariki huyu jamaa mpaka mwisho yake. Yule mtu ambaye analeta nyoko tunajua namna ya kutengeneza.
Meanwhile, Interior National Administration Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has announced that the government will commence a major empowerment drive in Kerio Valley that will benefit youth who have heeded the government's call to hand in their guns and quit criminal activities.
Na washukuru sana. Jana 50 guns, juzi 45, siku hiyo ingine 20 something. Leo nasikia ingine. So by the time tunamaliza another 1 month tutakuwa tumemalizana.
Kama kuna mtu baada ya kuwa bunduki apeleke polepole, arudishe tu mwenyewe peke yake, atafute bishop, atafute battery, atafute nani, arudishe bunduki peke yake.
Miriam Nyambura, Citizen TV.
The Orange Democratic Movement has launched its 20th anniversary celebrations with a rally in Wajir, bringing together senior party leaders in a show of unity and strength. Among those in attendance were Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga, Mombasa Governor Abdul Samad Sharif Nasser, and host Governor Ahmed Abdullahi, who led the event. Speaking at the rally, Governor Abdullahi claimed that the ODM has consistently won elections since 2007, but alleged that its victories were stolen. He reaffirmed that party leader Raila Odinga remains ODM's guiding political force. Meanwhile, Governor Sharif Nasser credited Odinga with shaping the political trajectories of numerous leaders across the country. The Wajir event is one of several regional rallies planned in the lead-up to a major national celebration set to take place in Mombasa.
Lazima tufanye itikadi ya kitaifa na maombi kwa ufupi.
Sisi tunangojea direction ya baba. Baba akisema left ni left. Baba akisema right ni right. Hakuna mwalimu aliyeweza kufundisha wanasiasa katika hii Kenya, kuanzia gavana wa Mombasa, gavana wa Wajir, kuanzia wabunge wa Kenya nzima, hata rais wa Kenya. Hakuna mwalimu zaidi ya baba Raila Amolo Odinga.
Mzia miaka 20 ya ODM bila Wajir County na bila North Eastern Province. Kwa sababu North Eastern nzima tumetembea pamoja na ODM, na kutoka wakati wa KPU wakati wa Jaramogi Oginga Odinga.
Two minors who had gone missing for 3 weeks were today reunited with their family, a day after Citizen TV covered their story. The minors were traced to the Kayole area where they had been placed after they were found. Their 3-week ordeal has raised pressing questions about child safety, urban mobility, and the role of public awareness. O'Day Francis with that heartwarming report.
Two missing children, Ketra and Junaida, were joyfully reunited with their family today in Nairobi's Lakisama estate, ending a harrowing 3-week search that had gripped the community. Tears flowed freely as the girls were embraced by their mother, Josephine Otindo, and their grandmother, who was overcome with emotion despite her limited mobility.
Citizen mbesenga badamu mkuenge wazima vijana yangu mfanye kazi na bidii muongezwe cheo mama muongezwe cheo.
The breakthrough came shortly after Citizen TV aired a report on the family's plight. The children were discovered at the Hope Center Child Rescue Center in Kayole, where they had been staying after a Good Samaritan found them and took them to Mugendi Police Station in Soweto. The center's director, Michael Oduor Makoha, had kept the children safe while awaiting identification.
Kambia polisi wacha wakae tu mpaka siku ile, najua one time tutajua wazazi wako wapi, wachajitokeza. I thank the media as well Citizen TV kwa ku-highlight this plight. Hapo imewezekana kwamba the parents have joined together with these children. I thank you very much.
Josephine Otindo expressed gratitude for the reunion, recalling the anguish of searching since August 31st without any leads.
Nimefurahia siku ya leo kupata mtoto wangu na kazini yangu. Nashukuru tu sana Citizen TV kutusaidia kupata watoto. Imekuwa while since 31st tukitafuta watoto, tukitembea, tupate any news, tupate any report. Leo nasikia tu nimefurahi kupata watoto wetu.
Neighbors and relatives gathered at the family's home. The children were handed over to their grandmother.
Nilijaribu kuhoji Kate mambo ya shule. Akasema for the past 1 year hajaienda shuleni.
It is a sigh of relief for the family of Ketra and Junaida, but one hurdle remains. Ketra needs to go back to school. O'Day Francis, Citizen TV, Kayole, Nairobi.
All right, we take a break on Citizen Weekend. Thank you for staying with us on Citizen Weekend. Ayub Abdikadir, who we have in Port-au-Prince, as well as Ricardo Germain, who is a Haitian security expert, waiting in the wings. And Ayub sets the stage for us with this report as the United Nations convenes for the 80th General Assembly in New York. One amongst the many issues the UN Security Council will seek to address is the future of the mission in Haiti, led by Kenya. The multinational security support mission, which marks a year since deployment of the first contingent, has faced challenges, among them inadequacy of personnel and logistics. Ayub Abdikadir brings us up to speed.
In the constant hunt for gangs in Port-au-Prince, the Kenyan police who lead the mission here face insurmountable logistical headache. Here is a smashed armored personnel carrier that was involved in an accident and which claimed the life of Kennedy Mutuku more than 2 weeks ago. The curvy roads of Port-au-Prince present an altogether different degree of challenge. The heavily armored personnel carriers can rarely navigate these roads, and in most times they are stuck more than they are moving, exposing the personnel to attacks from gangs and at worst set these vehicles ablaze. Driving through the deserted streets of Tabare leads us to the police academy in Port-au-Prince, and which the Kenyan police has ring-fenced from gangs, and where the next cohort of police in Haiti will graduate from.
The training institution accommodates not very large numbers as in our country. So the way we talked with the director, he said that they will be able to train about 4,000 per trip or at once. So they will not be able to train the 10,000 personnel at a go. So they will be training slowly by slowly.
For Haitians who have presented themselves for this training, it's a sacrifice for their country, because reintegrating back to a society that lives under the yoke of gangs could prove deadly.
We have a project to train about 4,000 policemen in 1 year. It is a project for us. Okay. Yeah.
Part of the Kenyan police contingent at this academy is all women, who are taking on an assignment they say is all too risky, but significant.
I'm very loyal to my country. Then my team here, we are doing great job. Our men, we are collaborating together. We work together, they assist us. Now we've seen a lot of changes and the Haitian police are appreciating us.
Haiti is a mixed bag. It's one of the least funded humanitarian appeals in the world, which the UN says is shamefully overlooked. And the horrors of the massive earthquake here 15 years ago is still hung over this island country. People here are uncertain about what the future holds when the mission's mandate lapses in October, one that has been grossly underfunded and stretched beyond capacity. Ayub Abdikadir, Citizen TV, in Port-au-Prince, Haiti.
Thank you for staying with us on Citizen Weekend. Baringo County residents on Saturday thronged various centers to participate in United Democratic Alliance nominations. The county's senatorial seat was left vacant following the death of former Senator William Cheptumo early this year. The nominations were, however, marred by technological glitches, despite assurances from party officials that the process was set to be seamless. And as you'll hear now from Crispin Otieno, the overall voter turnout was low.
Saturday morning, residents of Baringo County trooped to various schools earmarked as polling centers, while armed with their national identity cards to nominate UDA senatorial seat flag bearer after it remained vacant following the death of William Cheptumo in February 16, 2025. The much-anticipated nomination, according to the party, was aimed at curbing manipulation, save on time, its efficiency, and settling on the best candidate to clinch the seat.
Sema ukitoka kama agent, utatoka na results zako ambazo zimeprintiwa na zimesainiwa na agents wote. Kwa hivyo, hii ndio ile printer.
Inside the polling rooms and booths, this tablet is what everyone used to vote, irrespective of your age. However, some polling stations were marred by technical hitches as several gadgets failed, prompting the exercise to start way past 2 p.m.
Sisi tumepiga kura tu, nafikiri mimi ndio nisema ni mtu wa kwanza saa 8. Tumechelewa tangia asubuhi tumekuwa hapa.
This technology we have just this is the first time to have using such a technology in nomination, and it is very fast.
Tumekuwa na changamoto nzima tangu asubuhi, tumengoja password, tumengoja code, voters walikuja, wengi wakarudi.
For some, especially the elderly folks, questioned the process as they never expected a paperless polls, raising eyebrows on its transparency.
Kutakuwa na mambia gogo ama nane finya hapa na sangina anafinya opposite. So heri debe ile ya zamani ile ya 2022 na ile nyingine ilikuwa inaendelea 2017.
Hii teknolojia in fact ikuwe adopted na ikuwe advanced, iende advanced stages, and then you are good to go. Mambo ya kuiba kura nini hakuna, itaisha.
Baringo attracted a total of 9 candidates angling to reclaim the vacant seat, with some candidates jumping ship to support top contenders. According to IEBC statistics, Baringo got a total of 281,059 registered voters spread across 1,029 polling stations. Next. Crispin Otieno, Citizen TV.
In Migori County, residents continue to live in fear as banditry and castle cattle rustling worsen by the day. With insecurity deepening, some residents are forced to share living spaces with their livestock at night. But amid the grim reality, there is a ray of hope. One reformed bandit says he is slowly being accepted back into the community after abandoning a life of crime. Walter Nyambaga brings us the harrowing experiences of the victims and the growing calls for lasting solutions.
In Migori County, Sona West constituency, once a place of peace, now a community living in fear. Bandits has become a daily reality, tearing families apart and threatening livelihood. When the sun set, fear grips villagers. The threat of losing livestock is so real that the families now share their living space with their animals.
Unasikia tu kama umba inaanguruma nje. Kama mimi natoka naona mtu mwingine kama iko kwa mlango yangu ya ng'ombe. Naona hiyo mtu kama iko hapo kuja na bunduki. Tubu naingia kwa ndani kwa nyumba.
Samuel Okidi recalls the horrific night when he narrowly escaped as bandits stormed his home, making away with his cattle.
Napiga tu mayowe kama iko kwa ndani kwa nyumba.
Ukiacha nje wanachukua. Sasa hiyo ndio itabidi tuweke kwa nyumba karibu na kitanda hiki.
A few kilometers away we meet the family of Police Adoyo. A few years ago here, bandits left behind a trail of sorrow, killing both the husband and wife in cold blood as they drove away with animals.
Mama yake, baba yake napiga risasi kwa nyumbani.
Nilikuwa kwa nyumba, kasikia umbwa kabweka na harakati ya kusimama, kaona tu mwangaza kila mahali. Hata wamenifungia ndani. Mlango ya ndugu yangu wameharibu hadi wakaingia ndani.
The only child, just 3 months old at the time, is now 5 years old, growing up under the care of her grandmother.
Uji, maziwa, chai.
Mle hadi saa hii hajui chochote, anajua sisi ndio wazazi wake. Mamake mdogo pia akamweka kumnyonyesha.
We set off toward a thicket believed to hide stolen cattle. On our way, we are tipped off about a reformed bandit who agreed to speak to us anonymously. We shall call him Rashid, not his name.
Na zikiibiwa zinapelekwa wapi?
Inaenda tu Kuriani mpaka ndani huko Tanzania.
Kapiraje ndukudichwele.
Ng'ombe zilikuwa zinaenda mbali sana hadi kule Tarime, kuna porini kubwa hapo.
Amid violence, there are stories of change. Rashid says he has turned away from crime.
Kuna mtu alinitoa hapa kwamba tunaenda kutafuta msichana, lakini nikapata tunaenda uwizi wa ng'ombe. Baadaye nikaacha nikajitakaza mbele ya umma pamoja na chifu hapa.
Local leaders and security officers insist that defeating banditry requires not only force, but also reconciliation and rehabilitation. Families here will continue to count their nights by sound of gunfire, praying that the sun will rise with their hearts still intact. Walter Nyambaga, Citizen TV, Migori County.
Naivas Supermarket held a colorful event in Nairobi with its employees and their families and suppliers as part of its ongoing celebrations to mark 35 years of business. From one shop in Nakuru to more than 110 stores nationwide, the retail chain says its growth has been driven by people and partnerships. During the event, Naivas launched its Books and Dreams, a corporate social responsibility program targeting the collection of 100,000 books and stationery for underserved schools in all 47 counties. The program is set to benefit more than 50,000 pupils. The retailer says the initiative reflects commitment to go beyond business, investing in education and shaping Kenya's future.
Today's event is dedicated to our people and our supplier partnerships because they form the bedrock of how we've been able to establish a successful business over the last 35 years.
When we come together as a family, we are basically living the core values of Naivas. It's not just about fun, it's about appreciating our staff, their families. It's also about coming together and celebrating who Naivas is. We believe the success of Naivas is in the employees.
Royal Media Services, in partnership with key stakeholders, hosted separate health and wellness events in Nairobi. At Kalro Grounds, Faraja Cancer Support Trust staged the 4th edition of Be Bold, Go Gold 2025 in solidarity with children fighting cancer. At Nyayo Grounds in Embakasi, Radio Citizen organized a free medical camp that served over 1,000 residents.
3, don't fall, 2, 1 in.
The Be Bold, Go Gold walk brought together more than 2,000 participants in a powerful show of solidarity for children battling cancer. This year's edition raised over 7 million shillings, funds that will provide free therapy and financial support for children undergoing cancer treatment. Participants took part in 5-kilometer, 10-kilometer and 21-kilometer races against a scenic backdrop. Royal Media Services, as exclusive media partner, amplified the event's impact through Citizen TV, Hot 96 and Citizen Digital.
We'd like to call all other stakeholders to be part of this. We are especially grateful to the media and especially Royal Media Services that has been at the forefront.
For today, we are coming out to support children who are living with cancer, over 3,000 across the country. And I want to thank our leadership for all the support they've given.
And for our worthy cause to help kids and also to keep fit. And I'll thank the organizers and everyone who has participated.
At Nyayo Grounds in Embakasi East, Head of Radio Citizen Tino Gal led presenters in championing a free medical camp where over 1,000 residents received health care services.
Kila Mkenya apate kuangalia afya yake. Ndio tupate kuishi ile ambayo tunaita kwa kimombo quality life. Na kama Radio Citizen tumechana kweli, nataka Wakenya wajue kuwa tunaweka Wakenya mbele.
Kuna mzee mmoja amesema ametoka all the way from Nakuru, amekuja hapa kutibiwa macho na ameenda mpaka nyumbani na glasses and he is happy.
We've actually made an impact because we've already had to evacuate one person for treatment, admission and treatment.
Radio Citizen's next community engagement shifts to Nyanza region next week. Steve Shitera, Citizen TV, Embakasi, Nairobi.
Good to see you there, Henry Oriwo, at the Faraja Walk. Long-serving corporate leader and lawyer Francis Okomo Okello has launched his autobiography, Concert of Life, from the lake shore to the boardroom, where he has focused on his journey from the village to the leadership table of various organizations in the country and beyond. Okello reflects on the significant steps he has made in law and business, as well as focusing on his origins and his family. The 400-page book also focuses on the social, political and economic state of the country. Speaking at the launch of his autobiography in Nairobi, Okello called on entrepreneurs and businessmen to educate themselves in order to be able to solve the various challenges of the world.
Be a professional or an entrepreneur who is known to draw on complex strands of knowledge to solve specific human problems.
This is an invitation for you to dance on as you turn the 412 pages of this book. I told Francis that his book is inspiring. It inspires the reader to write his own.
Kenya has formally submitted her bid to host the World Athletics Championships in either 2029 or 2031, with the Moi International Sports Centre Kasarani, Nairobi, earmarked as the host venue. If successful, it would be the first time the global event is staged on African soil. Speaking in Tokyo, where he paid a courtesy call to Team Kenya, Cabinet Secretary for Youth Affairs, the Creative Economy and Sports, Salim Mvurya, confirmed that Kenya has entered the pre-qualification stage with World Athletics. Other countries in contention are Ethiopia, the United Kingdom, Italy, Germany, South Korea and India. The CS also held talks with World Athletics President Sebastian Coe, where he emphasized that the process is part of a national strategy to establish Kenya as a leading sports destination. FC Leopards began their 2025-26 FKF Premier League season with a draw, coming from a goal down to hold Sofapaka to a 1-0 draw at the Ulinzi complex. Batoto Bamungu opened the goal count through Jafari Satala in the 5th minute before Boniface Munyendo leveled matters through a corner in the 21st minute to scoop a point for Ingwe. In another clash, Bandari and Kariobangi Sharks fired blank at the Kasarani Annex. Kenya's under-20 women's team has finalized its preparation ahead of Sunday's clash against Ethiopia in the World Under-20 qualifier set for Abebe Bikila Stadium, Ethiopia. The Rising Starlets will play the opening leg on Sunday with the return leg scheduled for Sunday, September the 28th, 2025 at the Ulinzi Sports Complex in Nairobi. New Simba Queens midfielder Fasilia Adhiambo will captain the team with Lorraine Ilavonga serving as her assistant.
Come from the bench, so that is something again to discuss moja mbili, but competition iko poa sana.
Sema maybe Ethiopia wamekuja kama wamejipanga, wamejua wako home, wako na mafans, wako kwa soil yao, na maybe sisi tuko away, but kitu yenye inaweza tusaidia ni kwa tuna hiyo morali.
Diani Stars and Mwanambeyu Girls are the winners of the first edition of the Kwale FKF Beach Soccer held in Diani, Kwale County. Diani Stars took the men's title after beating Barbados 4-2 as Mwanambeyu Girls clinched the women's title after thrashing Diani Queens 4-2. FKF President Hussein Mohammed said that the federation will continue supporting grassroots football to nurture more talent, promising to invest in beach soccer.
And I think I want to give a pledge as the president of FKF that we will continue to support grassroots football. Whether mainstream football tournaments or beach football or women football, we are very committed.
Na la msingi nataka tukusisitiza kwamba sisi kama Kwale County, kwanza tuko na talent, pili tuko na beaches, na tatu tuko na wachezaji wenyewe.
Josephat Lersi Riama, one of the Northern Rangeland Trust, clocked 2 hours 24.20 to beat Saitoti, who timed 2 hours 24:20 minutes as coach Kwasma Bet FC came out third, timing 2 hours 30.18 in this year's edition of the Africa Rangers Congress. The first ever Africa Rangers Congress in Kenya kicked off on Wednesday, celebrating the work of wildlife officers in Africa, raising a record amount of over 21 million euros to date. The conference was organized by TASC and the Game Rangers Association of Africa.
Sio rahisi, ni teamwork, inategemea teamwork vile mtazungumza, na pia ni ngumu. Hayo yote kufika salama ama kufinish hiyo 21 kilometers na hiyo 22 kgs ni Mungu.
As we continue to interact with other teams, you know, there are people here who have learned on how this event is done and also how it's organized. And we have countries like South Africa now, they are looking forward to say that they would like to do it together with Kenya, Nigerians, Zambia.
Really important bringing the teams from all over the country together here so that they can get to meet each other. Last night they were at the Ranger Village. They were sharing tents from, guys from different teams, rangers from different areas. They've never met each other.